Izzo had his flirtation with the Cavaliers between 2010 and 2011.
That was miserable too, by the way.
Well, yeah, and I can't remember where that lined up with your timeline because that was right when you were coming in.
No, so that was after I came in. So I came in the season after they went to the Final Four at Ford Field. So I was redshirted.
Oh, that's right, because you're
yep,
redshirt.
Yep.
That's
so,
right.
but I talk about in the book how I was at China Express in Hazlitt. Shout out to them, best Chinese food in town in Mid Michigan. I was standing in line just to get some Chinese food for dinner, and this guy walks up behind me and goes, "Hey, is he staying or is he going?" I'm like,
What are you
"What are you talking about?" Yeah, that's what I said. He goes, "Izzo, is he staying or is he going?" I'm like, honestly, sir, like, I don't know. He goes, "The hell you don't? You probably know more than everybody else in this area right now." I said, "Honestly, I don't know. So can I just get my food and go home now, please?"
I don't think. Look, for the record, I don't think Tom Izzo knew. And having spoken to people like around him,
well,
during
LeBron had a lot to do with it.
Well, LeBron's decision,
right? The decision had a lot to do with it.
So you believe that because that's what I've heard too. Is that Izzo was what some people say it was back channel. Some people allege there was an actual conversation. But Izzo, from what I'm told, was trying to pin down an answer from LeBron James. And had he re-upped in Cleveland, Izzo would have gone, which I would not have blamed him, by the way.
There would have been a good chance because I know
he almost went anyway without that assurance.
Because from what we were told, LeBron's circle wanted Byron Scott, and which Byron Scott got the job anyway.
Yeah.
And so it didn't matter, but that's who LeBron wanted. And so, but I think Coach Izzo, I think it was us. So we had a meeting with him. So the day, and I talk about it in the book. So we had a meeting where it was the morning after he had flown to Cleveland and Gilbert gave him the offer. We go to the office about like 6:30 in the morning, and all these media trucks were parked outside the Breslin Center, man. And it was crazy. It was like the Pope was in town or something like that. And all these media trucks were there. So we had this meeting, and Coach was like, "Yeah, I went and visited Cleveland last night, and here's what they offered me." And we all just sat there in silence. We didn't know what to say. We didn't know how to react because it's like, wow, like 5 years, $30 million. Okay, what do you say? So nobody said anything. We just went to workouts, went about our day, and then Draymond called an emergency team meeting at this Clarabelle Smith Center. And Mike Garland stood up and started talking. He's like, "If you guys don't say something, like, he's gonna leave." And Draymond was just like, "You know what? Forget this. Let's go over there. Let's go get our coach back." So we parked our cars outside the building. We're walking in, and like all these cameras are like hounding us and everything, like asking us questions. We didn't say anything. And so we walk in, Coach Izzo walks in, and Draymond said, like, "Look, like, we need you. We don't want you to leave." And so guys said their piece. I said my piece privately to Coach Izzo. So I said to him, I said, do you know one of the reasons why I came back to Michigan State? I said, I didn't just come to Michigan State to play at Michigan State. I came here to play for you. I said, so if you leave, what is that? What's my dream? What does that accomplish my dream? It doesn't. Like, yeah, I play at Michigan State, great, cool, but I wanted to play for you. And I've said that. I said it to him when I was 8 years old. He knows that. And I don't want to say that helped him in his decision in staying, but I think it realized like how much his players really, truly cared about him. And after we got over the shock and everything he told us, like 3 days later, he said, "No, I'm staying." And, I think Coach Izzo said it best at his press conference. He is a Spartan for life. And that's kind of where the whole term, Spartan dog for life, kind of all started, was under him. And so that was tough. I don't want to say, I don't think Coach Izzo's flirtation with the NBA had anything to do with that season just being.
That was Valenti's theory.
That was Valenti's theory.
He thought you guys were mad that you felt betrayed by the flirtation.
No.
And it wasn't a conscious choice. We're going to screw Tom Izzo and lollygag the year. Right. But his theory was subconsciously it was like, you know what? F you, Izzo. You dispute that. You don't
I completely dispute that.
It's just his theory. He didn't report it.
Right.
But that was his theory.
Now, if Iz didn't tell us what was going on, then yeah, maybe guys had different feelings. But he kept us in the loop on things. We didn't tell anybody in the media. If media asks us questions. So like when we walked into the meeting, we were about to walk out. So we had this is like leading up to our team camps and day and night camps at Michigan State. Our manager was back in town. they had to go outside and park our cars and move them to the tunnel so we didn't walk back out to the media. But a couple guys walked back out anyway, and our media guy was like, "Hey, they ask you questions, just say you're there to get your championship rings fitted." They were like, "Okay, no big deal." So they just walked out and said, "Yep, we're here to get it. We got our championship rings fitted. We're all good. See you guys later." But I remember just like all 7 of our managers taking all these car keys and like unlocking every car that's in the parking lot and moving it down the tunnel. Like that was a crazy experience. But no, nobody was bitter at Coach Izzo. Like nobody was upset at him. And when he came back, everybody was actually relieved.